Presented by Listen Headlines. Latest financial news from trusted sources. Updating daily noontime New York City.
Global economy.
June 10, 10:40 America, New York. Bus journeys and cycling surge as UK drivers try to cut fuel use. Online searches for electric cars also climb as cost of filling a petrol tank passes £100.
New York Times Business.
June 10, 10:32 America, New York. Rents are climbing, keeping inflation high. Housing costs make up a big part of the overall inflation index, so they are keeping pressure on prices overall. Rents are climbing as people compete for a limited supply of apartments.
Daily FX Market News.
June 10, 10:28 America, New York. S&P P500, Nasdaq. The bears are back. USD spikes, USD slides. It's been a busy 24 hours across global markets, and the big driver remains on the horizon for next Wednesday with the FOMC.
New York Times Business.
June 10, 10:22 America, New York. Stock markets recoil as investors react to inflation increase. The inflation data indicated that policymakers would need to continue their aggressive attempts to slow the economy.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
June 10, 10:19 America, New York. U.S. to halt COVID test requirement for air travelers coming to country. The U.S. will end COVID-19 testing requirements for air travelers coming to the country effective Sunday, a government official said.
Wall Street Journal Markets.
June 10, 10:14 America, New York. Didi ends tumultuous run as a New York-listed company. The ride-hailing company's ill-fated debut helped turn it into a poster child for China's tech crackdown.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
June 10, 9:27 America, New York. Fed likely to signal half-point rate rises through September. Top central bank officials have indicated they won't slow the pace of rate increases until they see clear proof of an inflation slowdown.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business.
June 10, 9:21 America, New York. U.S. scrutinizing Swiss currency practices. The Treasury Department also reported progress in talks with Vietnam and Taiwan over their foreign exchange policies.
New York Times Business.
June 10, 9:19 America, New York. No relief in sight for prices. The outlook for the U.S. economy and more at Dealbook's DC Summit. Summer road trips are going to be expensive.
Marginal Revolution.
June 10, 9:17 America, New York. What should I ask Matthew Ball? I will be doing a conversation with him. Here is some background. Metaverse, metaverse, metaverse. You hear it everywhere. It's mainstream, it's a trendy buzzword, it's even corporate strategy du jour.
Global economy.
June 10, 9:13 America, New York. Public satisfaction with Bank of England falls to lowest on record. Britons expect high inflation to last for the next 5 years, data show.
Wall Street Journal Markets.
June 10, 9 o'clock America, New York. ECB fuels market jitters over Italy's debt. The European Central Bank's plans to increase interest rates for the first time in more than a decade face a hurdle in southern Europe, where borrowing costs are surging.
BBC News Business.
June 10, 8:59 America, New York. U.S. inflation hits fastest pace since 1981. Rising energy and food costs pushed inflation to 8.6% in May, the highest rate for more than 40 years.
BBC News. Business.
June 10, 8:59 America, New York. U.S. inflation hits fastest pace since 1981. Rising energy and food costs pushed inflation to 8.6% in May, the highest rate for more than 40 years.
Daily FX Market News.
June 10, 8:40 America, New York. U.S. inflation at 8.6% in May, blows past estimates and hits highest level since 1981. May U.S. CPI rose 1% on a seasonally adjusted basis and 8.6% over the last 12 months, a sign that the Fed has a long way to go to tame inflation and bring it back to the 2% target.
BBC News. Business.
June 10, 8:27 America, New York. Morrisons raises pay as stores battle for staff. The UK's fourth largest supermarket says it will pay a minimum of £10.20 per hour to its workers.
BBC News Business.
June 10, 8:27 America, New York. Morrisons raises pay as stores battle for staff. The UK's fourth largest supermarket says it will pay a minimum of £10.20 per hour to its workers.
BBC News Business. June 10. 7:57 America, New York. Worried households cut back on energy and food. Official data reveals heightened concern among households about the rising cost of living.
BBC News. Business.
June 10. 7:57 America, New York. Worried households cut back on energy and food. Official data reveals heightened concern among households about the rising cost of living.
Daily FX Market News.
June 10. 7:05 America, New York. FTSE, DAX price forecast. Rate hikes take center stage as equities suffer. UK and European indices have taken a beating as rising inflation, yields and interest rates further complicate a low-growth environment.
Wall Street Journal Markets.
June 10. 6:56 America, New York. Bank of England highlights shortcomings at HSBC, Lloyds, Standard Chartered. The central bank found issues that could make orderly failures more difficult in a crisis, but also said banks are no longer too big to fail.
Global economy.
June 10. 5 o'clock America, New York. U.S. inflation forecast to have accelerated in May. Consumer prices add to pressure on Federal Reserve to cool down the economy.